Mewtwo Y, I think the issue does go beyond the developers a little bit. With a pick rate of over 60% for 6 weeks straight, do you think that the current player base has helped reduce the overall player base? Because of those 300,000 people who stopped playing Pokemon Unite, they are not contributing to that 60% pick rate. Hi guys, this is our very first guest on the Unite Climbing podcast. He's an Australian player, a 3-time UCS winning player from Ground Zero Gaming's. Our guest, a very knowledgeable player with an array of experience in MOBAs. We can all learn a thing or two. Welcome and thank you for joining Sulu.
Absolute pleasure to be here, Unite Climbing. I absolutely love what you're doing. Really excited to go and contribute today.
I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. Thanks again. All right, first question, mate. Let's talk about the current player base and specifically the size of the player base. Floating around recently, it's a bit of a hot topic on YouTube. We've got Spraggles and Chris Heroes and other content creators saying stuff like, is Pokemon Unite dying? In your opinion, do you think Pokemon Unite is dying? And why do you think so or think not so?
All right, that's just a great question to start off with. Well, firstly, I don't think Pokemon Unite's dying. I think Pokemon Unite is backed by an excellent intellectual property, the idea of Pokemon, and ultimately it's got features that a MOBA game cannot really compete with. Like, you have these adorable creatures that everyone has, like, we're so nostalgic about playing Pikachu, about playing, Flareon and Jolteon and all the Pokemon like this, like Venusaur, Charizard. You can name thousands of Pokemon. There's people out there who literally know all 1081 Pokemon, and that's insane to me. But that's one of the winning features of this product, is that, yes, you get to play as your Pokemon in an intensive 10-minute competitive game that where you just wield your Pokemon. You get to, channel the awesomeness of this character. So when you have that, yes, the game is in a rough spot right now. The balance patches, director, everything has come together in like a bad place, and we just add a Mewtwo as like a nice little bow on top, and it's left a very sour taste in our mouths. So yeah, for sure, we're not happy with it. I don't think anyone is actively like super enjoying Pokemon Unite. But do I think it's dying? No, I think they're gonna come to realization they need to do something. But we're definitely in a dip.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. Look, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on here. I actually think there's like a bit of it's a calculated decision, I think, from the devs. You shared something that got featured on Teeds' channel, and I'll, put up the image where it's Samsung players, as of 16 weeks ago, which is roughly about, at the time, the 4th of June, there was about 110,000 Samsung players. Then 8 weeks later, which is about the end of July, it spiked to about 160,000. And then at the current point, which was about the start of October, it dropped to 90,000 players on Samsung. Now, I've done a little bit of maths. I took a survey. There's about 20% of people who are playing on a Samsung. So really that kind of, that 160K is roughly about 800,000 people. And that's dropped to 500,000 in that last 8 weeks. Now, I'm just going to spit out some stuff here. From the 4th of June to the end of July, so that spike, that big spike in the player base, there was 5 patches in the game. 5, right? That's 5 in about 10 weeks. That's 1 every 2 weeks. So I think they've got a very good idea about what makes the game grow. And then after that was the release of Mewtwo X, Mewtwo Y. Other than the hot patch that we had, we've had 1 patch in about the last 10 weeks, and we've seen a massive drop, And I think it's a very calculated decision, because if we look at the Twitch hours watched last year, August to September to October had a big drop. And so they're probably, using this data saying, well, we're probably not going to get a lot out of the game if we invest our resource into it. So they're looking at dragging some resource out of it with $1 million Mewtwo Y, the Pokemon that's generated over $1 million.
Oh, for sure. I think you've landed. I'd love to put on a tinfoil cap as well right now.
Yep.
I'll join you right there. I think for sure it's a deliberate and calculated gesture by the developers. They've looked at this period, as you said, and they've just gone and doubled down on this idea. Yeah, well, look, nothing moves in the game. No one cares. No one's really interested. They're all waiting for the next season. They're all waiting for the next release. Blah blah. We'll just put them on ice. Get one developer at the back of the room. Hey, you're working on Mimikyu, Meowscarada, and Blaziken, and they got 2 people Mewtwo skins, and then the rest of the team is on holiday. It's a bit outrageous. I do think this is very poor management, but I do like the way that I guess we're able to identify. Hey, look, like the meter, something's playing up with here. Like this doesn't smell right. Like there's a bit of some fishy nonsense.
Yeah, it's not. It's honestly not great. Like knowing that the play base is dropped, and I think clearly we can put the common denominator down to two things, which is a lack of a competitive scene because Worlds has ended, plus Mewtwo Y. So we've got two things going in compound there. So we've lost about 300,000 active players, which is just crazy. And it's probably not going to pick back up until December. And I think the devs have a pretty good understanding of this, and we're probably not going to see an improvement probably until December. But I don't think, if we reel it back to the original question, do we think Unite is dying? I would say no. They've got too much of a brand behind it. And if you were to just put that answer in one statement, do you think Pokemon Unite is dying?
I think just we can never say this game can die without the developers doing what I like. They have to they have to pull the plug on this because no matter how hard they try to like ruin the game, at the end of the day, there's always going to be an underage child who's going to love playing as like Shinx running around Via Sky Ruins as little Shinx. They probably think it's like the best thing in the world. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to, even if you make the game physically unplayable, they're gonna have to probably pull the plug before we can call it a dying project.
Yep, 100% agree. I honestly could not agree more. That kind of leads me into my next question. Just I'm going to go with the theme of Mewtwo Y. Do you think that Mewtwo Y is making it tricky for teams to practice in ranked, even just to improve at Pokemon Unite? And do you think the mechanics of Mewtwo Y are just completely nullifying the macro of these other characters that require skill?
Absolutely. I think that's once again like just hitting the nail on the head. It's this idea that Mewtwo Y is so easily accessible. I mean, maybe the understanding was to create a character where anyone would be able to enjoy their favorite legendary. Maybe that was the original idea coming in. And what they ended up with was Frankenstein's monster, character that requires little to no ability at all to achieve things that you were meant to only see like the very best players in the world doing. Like every regular Mewtwo Y is out damaging Overlord 98's 150,000 North American Grand Final game. Like this is a game where he demonstrated that he went and got up and shouted after, "You will not win if I have that character." He literally shouted, "You will not win if I have that character." And it's the same thing that everyone in the room can now shout when they're playing Mewtwo Y.
Yeah.
Like, you will not win when I have Mewtwo Y. I'll hold A and you will die. I'll push you away. It's a bit ridiculous that they made it so accessible and so overloaded. And I definitely think it is lowering the bar for players. People are not seeing value in mastering character, for example, like Cypher. You have all these mechanical abilities, you have a squishy health bar. If you make a mistake on Cypher, you will lose the game, and you will be punished heavily for the kill streak that you've tamed. However, if you play on Mewtwo, you just run at them forward, and if they go on you, you click your Unite move, you're unstoppable, you then click Recover, you regain all your health, and then the whole enemy team's dead before you know it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's saddening in that sense.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I think, look, if you were to put one solution into ranked to try and fix that for the people who play ranked and want to, climb some elo, or just play some duos with their friends. If there was one quick band-aid fix, what would you do?
So I think this has been talked about a lot, but the best band-aid fix Pokemon Unite can do, the company, Timmy, look, add draft. You need to add draft. Draft is the band-aid solution. They don't actually need to do anything new because the draft's already in the game. They don't need to pay more developers, any more graphics. Everything's already there. They're able to do it from the Rayquaza Cups. I do believe that is the testing. I want to be honest. I'm on a bit of hopium here. I've been researching this interestingly, and they've been pushing out these Rayquaza Cups, and they've been really promoting people to just sign up. And I think, why do they care? Because as you said, that they're in this down period. And I realized, hey, wait a minute, they're testing to see if this ranked mode can work in a draft setting. Like we can do a ranked draft and like appropriately. So yeah, they're clearly testing something. Good for them. I do enjoy that. I think that's a good idea. It's the band-aid fix. Forget patching Mewtwo. Realistically, they're probably like I don't see how they already nerfed this character. They thought that was sufficient.
Yeah.
That's the thing that hurts me the most. They've nerfed it
Yeah.
already. They nerfed Mewtwo X is the same problem, whether it's intentionally broken. But yeah, so I guess for me, I think the band-aid fix is draft mode. You add draft mode, we can ban Mewtwo Y, we can
Yeah.
ban both the Mewtwo's. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, I think I love that point, and I've like in my rage of Mewtwo Y, sometimes I've like, why is there not a a draft mode? And I think again it's calculated. I think it's coming. According to the math that I've done, because I don't mind a bit of math, is that roughly about 60,000 people purchased Mewtwo Y before it was like available to get free with all the dice rolling and stuff like that. That's a lot of people, and I think if they, with 60,000 people buying Mewtwo Y, for it to be taken away in a draft mode, I think that's just something they weren't willing to do too quickly. So I think I would say it's on the horizon. I definitely think it's on their scope, but and they're aware of it. But I think there's a lot of hesitation because there'd be a lot of angry people who have invested their, they've made a financial investment into the game, and then they're not able to play something because it's been banned. So I think, look, again, with tinfoil hatting this, I love it. But I think there's a bit of skepticism there.
For sure. You know what? I actually think that you're nail on the head once again. I think nearly every multiplayer game has had this problem. When you have this pay to win potential feature, right? This map, it was pay to win. I know there's gonna be a lot of like people who will be upset at that take. But at the end of the day, if we're waiting 19 days to play Mewtwo Y, which is the best character in the game, heads and shoulders above everything else, I played Mewtwo X in release. My third game, I dropped 300,000 damage, and it was like, going into the schoolyard and the kindergartens,
Yeah.
like, were allowed in the year 12 section.
Yeah.
It's absolute slaughter.
Yeah.
You're kicking them over and sending them flying like they're little gnomes.
Yeah.
It's just so gross.
That's funny. Yeah. Especially that first gank, it's like you're like a fully grown adult, like with children, and then little preppies up the lane, like, oh, I have one stack. Just yeah.
The poor Larvitar. He's just looking up at me. Like, scare me, Master Skywalker. And then you're Anakin walking the Senate room.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's it's terrible.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I think as you said, like there's a financial element of it that is like they want to create that money incentive to get it. Okay, well if you don't pay, you don't get Mewtwo, and then you don't win games. Yeah, sure. But then there's also like a lawsuit element. If they are charging people for Mewtwo and they nerf it quickly and like harsh, like so Mewtwo becomes, there's going to be a lot of people who are saying you scammed me for my money, you took away my money. I find that there might be grounds for like some sort of manipulation here, that you've manipulated this character's worth, made me want to buy it, and then now I'm being deceived, like unlawful practices. And I think Overwatch was sued for this, and other type of MOBA games have been sued for this as well.
Sure.
Like this unlawful advertising.
True. All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's super interesting. And again, we're speculating, we're theorizing, but I think we're making some pretty good points. I want to reel this into the next question because again, Mewtwo Y, I think the issue does go beyond the developers a little bit. With a pick rate of over 60% for 6 weeks straight, do you think that the current player base has helped reduce the overall player base? Because of those 300,000 people who stopped playing Pokemon Unite, they are not contributing to that 60% pick rate.
Like, I guess there's a perfect saying for this. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
Yeah.
If I have Mewtwo and you don't, you will face the wrath. It's become a two-player game. The Mewtwo on your team versus the Mewtwo on their team.
Yeah.
Maybe four-player if you add in the Blissies. But it's just a tragedy, right? Our player base has ruthlessly decimated each other. Yeah. With that power of Mewtwo in their hands, they've looked at their comrades and said, get behind me, I will win us the game. And the other guy is like, they are really the leaders of the team. You know what?
Yeah.
Hey, look, Yuki Gabe, I believe the director's name is. You've done a bloody good job at delivering the promise. The legendary is the leader of the team for sure. Mewtwo, the player base is turning each other.
Yeah.
You see Mewtwo's every game, like, half the community has said no to Mewtwo. No, I will not participate. And then we've watched as community leaders have crumbled to the pressure, just unable to win games, unable to find, whether they've been supporting a Mewtwo or playing the Mewtwo themselves. People have just lost their minds. I'm sure, I know that you haven't delved into, the secret sauce. One time, I lost my mind. I could not play the game anymore. And I was like, okay, I'll show you. First time Mewtwo Y, Dropped 150k. This is after the nerfs.
Mhm.
Like I had no Blissey on me, nothing.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show the community. I'm like, look, if you guys play Mewtwo Y every game, I can play it as well, and we can all have fun in this together, right? We're all gonna beat each other up until we quit. So, yeah, to answer your question, we definitely did contribute. We've been cannibalizing each other since the beginning of this game, but Mewtwo has really, really pushed it to another level.
Yeah. Yeah, just I think there's a little bit of of responsibility. But that being said, like I heard you said you dropped 150k without support. Anybody who's watching this, via YouTube, you need to check out Sulawu. Like I think I'm good at the game, but then I watch Sulawu to see what I can do better, right? So
You're too nice.
no, like in terms of like that aggressive playing and getting those damage numbers, like if you want to learn to engage and all that stuff, he's definitely someone who says some good stuff and shares some pretty good wisdom. So absolutely. To wrap things up, where would you like the direction of Pokemon Unite to head into the future?
I love this game. Absolutely adore it. This game is. I wish if we were maybe younger and there was a better opportunity for it, that this game would be taken up by a bigger company and really made the mantle of their success. And maybe it's a shame that it is. So I want Pokemon Unite to be pushed into the mainstream. I want them to care about this game. I want them to nurture it like it deserves to be nurtured. And for that to happen, we need draft and ranked. We need frequent bounce patches. We need good characters developed. We need potentially PC support. I don't know about that, but these are just some simple ideas that I think if we want to push the future of this game, the very first thing we need is the developer who really deeply cares about this project. They need to care about us, the fans, the enjoyers of this game. Like I know you were talking earlier and you said it's hard to want to record content now because you go into a game and it's like every second game, a Mewtwo is thrashing you, kicking you in the head. And if you record Mewtwo, what are the fans going to think about you?
Oh, dude, you were dragged through. They're like unsubscribe, thumbs down, not happy with you. Yeah, how dare you, right? It's like division. Yeah, it's division of groups. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. I think you've made some really valuable points on the, on the future of Pokemon Unite, some directions to head there. One theme seems to be draft pick. I think everyone would love to see draft pick in ranked. On an aspirational final note, what is one tip you would share for a new-ish player to help them improve?
This is the thing I say to every player, any skill level. The number one thing is you need to be more aggressive and assertive in your gameplay. Go run in and do things. Stop farming minions when you have unites. Stop farming when you have power spikes. I know that there's going to be a lot of content creators who tell you, oh, well, there's yellow dots on the map and you want to farm them all the time. Yes, you do want to farm them, but you need to be looking to, set the pace of this game. You were like, I guess this is the best way to explain it. You were like one of those. Do you ever watch like the Tour de France?
Sometimes, yeah.
They have like pacing bikes, and they're a motorbike. You need to be the pacing motorbike. You have to set the speed of the game, and you have to play at the speed that you're comfortable at. Make the other people feel a little bit uncomfortable. Go run at them. Maybe go slow it down. You choose the pace. You got to go and do things in the game, and you're gonna have more fun that way. And you're also going to learn more about the game.
I totally agree. I love that. I love that point. Now, Sulawu, to wrap things up, I would love to propose a challenge for you. Could we queue into a game? I'll support you. I'll support you through and through, however much you need. We can stay on the VC. The challenge is that you've got to deal more than 125k. Win or lose, okay. I do not care. You can lane, you can jungle, you can pick whoever you want. You can tell me what support to play. But if you hit that 125k, I will give you $50 pretty much just bang straight after the game. Okay. Challenge done and done.
You're spoiling me. Yeah. Okay, we're definitely going to have to do it in the comms. This has to be a video now.
Okay. Yeah. I'm keen. All right, let's jump in the game. Hopefully I don't crash here.